the Vice Chancellor of this great university, Professor Henry Kiplangat, to come and give his opening remarks. Prof, welcome. Let's give him a round of applause as he comes to the podium. Thank you, Prof.
Honorable Lady Justice Martha Koome, the Chief Justice of the Republic of Kenya and the President of the Supreme Court of Kenya, Honorable Justice Richard Butere, Deputy Chief Justice of the Republic of Uganda and Head of the Court of Appeal of Uganda, Your Excellency Mohammed Adan Khalif, Governor of Mandera County, Your Excellency Honorable David Kones, the Deputy Governor, Nakuru County, representing the Governor for Nakuru County. And now please allow me to adopt the protocols that were earlier established. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It is with great joy that I welcome you to Kabarak University. We are much honored to host the 3rd Annual Alternative Justice Systems Conference at Kabarak University. And this is the first time we are hosting a conference with such a huge concentration of high-ranking legal practitioners led by the Honorable Chief Justice of the Republic of Kenya. And on this account, we owe a debt of gratitude to 1, the Judiciary, 2, the National Steering Committee on the Implementation of Alternative Justice Systems Policy, 3, the county governments, 4, our sister academic institution, Egerton University, 5, the civil society groups, and 6, the interfaith groups. Thank you for choosing Kabarak University as a venue for hosting this conference and gracing our campus with your presence. This is a great honor not only to Kabarak University, it is also an honor to our great city of Nakuru. Your presence on our campus signifies the eminent position our School of Law has taken as a leader in legal education in this country and the East African region. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, Kabarak University was founded on 16th of October 2000 by His Excellency President Daniel Toroitich Arap Moi, the 2nd President of the Republic of Kenya and the 1st Chancellor of the university. Since its inception, the university has grown in leaps and bounds. Over 10,000 students are currently enrolled in 103 academic programs spread across 7 schools, namely School of Business and Economics, School of Education, Humanities and Social Sciences, School of Medicine and Health Sciences, School of Music and Media, School of Pharmacy, School of Science, Engineering and Technology, and the school that is greatly honored to host this competition, this conference, the School of Law. The programs offered at Kabarak University range from certificate to diploma programs, undergraduate degree programs, master's programs, to the Doctor of Philosophy programs. Although the majority of our programs are offered through face-to-face and blended e-learning modes, a number of our programs are also offered through fully online learning mode. Despite the fact that most of our students are Kenyans, a sizable number are international students from South Sudan, Democratic Republic of Congo, Tanzania, Nigeria, Rwanda, India, Portugal, and Somalia. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, in the midst of your busy schedule during the conference, I hope you will find time to visit our 7 schools as well as our 2 campuses, the main campus where we are hosting this event, and the Nakuru City campus located only 20 minutes away from the main campus. A tour of our university will give you a first-hand experience of our first-class facilities, including our state-of-the-art libraries, laboratories, lecture halls, and other facilities and resources we have assembled to support our academic programs. We have also set up an information booth where you can get quick information about the university. At your convenience, you are also welcome to visit our university website. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, the Kabarak University School of Law is clocking its 14th birthday this year, tracing its birth date to the year 2010. And with focused leadership, resilience, and a clear roadmap for the school, we have made great strides in the development of the school. Today, we can say with certainty that our School of Law has come of age and can comfortably host high-profile events such as the third Alternative Justice Systems Conference. We recently undertook a major expansion and improvement of our law school facilities, and this undertaking is almost complete. There are, however, a few areas that are still a work in progress. As such, we kindly beg your indulgence should you notice any shortcoming in the facilities. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, alternative justice system is an approach we have already entrenched in our legal training at Kabarak University School of Law. For instance, we have established the Center for Multiple Justice Systems at our law school. The center is focusing on negotiation, mediation, and arbitration. Additionally, our Center for Multiple Justice Systems has commenced consultations with the leadership of the National Steering Committee on the implementation of alternative justice systems policy with the view of developing a master's degree program in multiple justice systems. The program will train learners in the various justice systems who will in turn entrench these values in their communities and institutions. Kabarak University School of Law is already integrating the tradition of furthering the vital skills of alternative dispute resolution through the moot court programs. For this reason, our students are excelling in moot court competitions not just in Kenya, but also regionally and globally. To give you a brief glimpse, in December 2021, our students won a gold medal for the top team and an award for the best negotiating pair during the Dubai ad hoc negotiation competition organized by the Alternative Dispute Resolution and Online Dispute Resolution International. Just recently, in May 2024, our students emerged best in Africa at the 2024 All Africa Mediation Tournament organized by the Online Dispute Resolution Network and the International Academy for Dispute Resolution. Earlier in the same month, our team was ranked second best in Kenya at the Lady Just Joyce Award Mediation Moot Court Competition. And on 5th July to 10th of July 2024, Kabarak University School of Law will represent Africa in the IBA-VIAC-CDRC Mediation and Negotiation Moot Court Competition, which will be held at the University of Vienna. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, the few examples I've given underscore the fact that our School of Law has already taken its rightful place as a trailblazer in alternative justice systems. Furthermore, I would like to assure the conference that the idea of alternative justice systems resonates with our vision and core values as a university. AJS's people approach and the commitment to make justice affordable, accessible, and practical are values that are consonant with our educational philosophy. Related to alternative justice and the work of the Center for Multiple Justice Systems, in 2022, I established the Center for Legal Aid and Clinical Legal Education within our School of Law and mandated our learners and faculty to use this vessel to conduct legal aid clinics and take up cases on behalf of the indigent and the public interest. While this is on course, CLE is developing a master's degree program in judicial science, which I believe will contribute to improved delivery of justice through offering advanced and specialized training on judgecraft. In this regard, our School of Law is in consultation with the Kenya Judicial Academy and Cardiff University, and I am hopeful that a revolutionary program will emerge out of this partnership. Another master's program under consideration at our School of Law is on the subject of leadership, governance, and ethics in Africa. This shows that our School of Law is moving in the direction of inspiring transformation in the areas of governance and justice for the good of our people. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, please permit me to thank our chief guest, Honorable Lady Justice Martha Koome, Chief Justice of the Republic of Kenya and President of the Supreme Court of Kenya for finding time out of our busy schedule to honor us with our presence to officially open this conference. This is the second time the Chief Justice has devoted her precious time to Kabarak University. Not long ago, on 15th of July, 2022, our Chief Justice presided over the launch of Power, Politics and Law, a book written by Attorney General Emeritus Professor 𝑬𝒙𝒑𝒂𝒏𝒈 and published by Kabarak University Press. Honorable Lady Justice Koome, your level of commitment and support is remarkable and is a great inspiration to us. At the same time, we remain grateful to you, our chief guest, Honorable Lady Justice Koome, for inviting the members of Uganda's judiciary led by Honorable Justice Richard Rutere, Deputy Chief Justice and Head of the Court of Appeal of Uganda. The presence of Uganda's topmost judicial officials here at Kabarak University is an honor for which we can never thank you enough. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, permit me also to pay special tribute to governors, Your Excellency Honorable Ibrahim Hassan, Mohammed Adan Khalif, Governor of Mandera County, and the Deputy Governor of Nakuru, who represents the County Governor of Nakuru. I sincerely thank you not only for gracing this occasion, but also for standing with the people in their quest for justice. Your respective counties' endorsement of this conference reassures us that we have the backing of our motherland. I also take this moment to thank the Ambassador of the European Union to Kenya and Permanent Representative to the United Nations Environmental Programme and the UN Habitat, Her Excellency Henriette Gigner, whose presence here is a sign of support for an initiative that is very dear to our people. In closing, I wish to reiterate my warm welcome to all of you on behalf of Kabarak University. May the third AJS conference be a time of profound learning, meaningful connections, enduring inspiration, and positive impact for our people. Thank you, and may God bless you.
Let's appreciate the Vice Chancellor. You're doing excellent work at Kabarak University. That was very impressive to listen to. Let me now take this opportunity to invite our next speaker, Mr. Musyoki Kimanthi, the Chair of the National Legal Aid Service Board, which is a very, very important institution within the context of AJS and access to justice generally. Let's appreciate him as he comes up. Please don't fall.
The Honorable Chief Justice and President of the Supreme Court of Kenya, allow me to adopt the protocols that were earlier laid out by the MC. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, good morning. Let me start by appreciating the organizers of this third AJS conference for inviting me to speak on behalf of the National Legal Aid Service, and also for recognizing our role as the state agency mandated to regulate the provision of legal aid services in the country. It is a privilege and honor to be part of this conference today for the second time, to share our experiences and gather insights from experts and partners, with the sole aim of enhancing access to justice through AJS. This year's conference theme resonates with the objects of the Legal Aid Act, which mandates the National Legal Aid Service to establish a legal and institutional framework to promote access to justice by promoting alternative dispute resolution methods that enhance access to justice in accordance with the Constitution. This conference helps us in recognizing the need to adapt our approaches to the evolving societal context in application of AJS, and in helping us overcome the barriers for access to justice so as to fulfill our mandate as provided for in the Legal Aid Act. One of our objectives under the Act is to establish alternative dispute resolution and justice centers across the country, and to partner with local leaders to ensure that culturally appropriate practices are embraced in resolving disputes. As has been alluded to many times, it is a known fact that our communities over the years found local amicable solutions to issues affecting them. We may hold different viewpoints about the efficacy or efficiency, but we cannot discount them. They exist and have hitherto served our people for generations. At the National Legal Aid Service, we will not reinvent the wheel by contradicting this fact. To reinforce this method, we have been in the forefront promoting alternative justice systems as a peaceful way to resolving disputes in accordance with Article 159(2)(c) of the Constitution. More than 80% of the cases we handle end up resolved through alternative dispute resolution mechanisms, which reflects the milestones we've achieved as a government entity in realization of access to justice for the indigent, marginalized, and vulnerable persons within our society. We not only integrate AJS into our services, but also extend to training our community elders, paralegals, and mediators. Expanding legal aid to include AJS systems often resolves conflicts more quickly, cheaply, effectively, and amicably than the formal court processes. It is also more accessible. Ladies and gentlemen, at the National Legal Aid Service, we are seeking to enhance access to justice in line with the government's agenda on good governance, strengthening the rule of law, promotion, and respect for human rights. Achieving this requires that we open our minds and hearts to a more inclusive, innovative, and humane solution through alternative justice systems. The categorization of our clients, the people we serve under the National Legal Aid Service, they are classified as the indigent, marginalized, and vulnerable persons, will give you an idea about the members of the society that we serve. In the ordinary sense, these are people who would be disadvantaged in accessing the formal justice systems and would require other means to help them resolve their disputes. Imagine a boda rider and a mama boga disagreeing over child maintenance. These ordinarily disadvantaged persons would not afford legal processes to preserve the interests of the child. Yet, these are some of the real cases that we deal with daily at the National Legal Aid Service through the application of alternative justice systems. I'll tell you a small story. Not long ago, a lady sought our services over a child who had lost his speech and could not speak due to what he was told or what she believed was a curse from the child's grandfather. According to the lady, the father-in-law did not approve their marriage, and according to their culture, this amounted to a curse, which affected the child's speech. Now, you can imagine, judges, how you deal with such a case. We advised the lady to go and bring some wazels from the village we had a session with, and we agreed that they would approach the child's grandfather to explore their traditional methods of unlocking the curse and mediating the conflict. Now, of course, wazels came and he followed up a few days later, and the report he got from one of the relatives was that the grandfather had softened his stand after mediation with his peers, reconciled with the daughter-in-law, and the curse was unlocked. This is a true story. I had to ask people in my office over and over again. I told them I'm coming to tell the CJ this story. So it must be verified, and they insist it's true. Of course, I'm sure it raises a lot of issues. What happened? For us, we know we referred the dispute to AJS, and the ends of justice were achieved. This conference is very important for us at the National Legal Aid Service because it reinforces our vision to protect and promote the right to access to justice, especially for our key target groups who would otherwise encounter several challenges, including court filing fees, understanding the legal procedures, and even accessing the courts. Additionally, this conference is crucial for us as it provides a platform to share our experiences and learn from the best practices from other partners. The conversations and insights gained from this conference are invaluable for enhancing our AJS framework and expanding our scope of facilitating access to justice for the hundreds of underprivileged members of our society who seek our services every day. We are grateful with the support of the EU. We have mounted an information booth with IAC materials that you can take along to your respective counties as you go back home. We know that when we speak about justice, engaging our communities is paramount. Justice should not be an abstract concept confined to courtrooms or towns or county headquarters. It is a living thing, a breathing part of everyday life and present in the different locations of the country. We must empower local communities to participate actively in these justice processes. This involves training community leaders, elders, youth, women, and girls in AJS, thereby integrating all other forms of dispute resolution practices in the formal legal frameworks. As such, justice will be readily acceptable by the people it serves. It is for this reason that in our strategic plan for the years 2023 to 2028, we envision increased access to justice and quality of legal services available to the public, as well as reducing barriers to legal service provision and access to justice. We are fully aware that this will remain only a mirage if we do not embrace AJS. We believe that justice should be accessible, efficient, and culturally resonant, and alternative justice systems embody these values. Considering that the core mandate of ELAS is to support the most vulnerable, our interventions are meant to contribute to social justice and a people-centered approach in setting up enhanced justice delivery. ELAS has to breathe life to the government's responsibility to serve the citizens and provide justice services as part of the overall public services, which have to be designed to meet the expectations and needs. Our vision is to see a justice system where every citizen can resolve disputes efficiently and fairly through application of AJS. Lastly, retooling our AJS framework is essential to meeting the evolving needs of our society. This involves integrating modern technology to streamline processes and increase efficiency. Digital platforms can facilitate virtual sessions, making it easier for disputing parties to resolve disputes without the need for physical presence. Additionally, we should continuously review and update our policies to reflect best practices and lessons learned from other jurisdictions. This mission requires a collaborative effort. We need to support and cooperation of government agencies, civil society organizations, international partners, and the private sector. By working together, we can create a robust AJS framework and ensure that all Kenyans can access justice. In conclusion, accelerating people-centered justice in Kenya through engaging, expanding, and retooling AJS is not just an ideal, it is a necessity. Let us commit to this vision and work tirelessly to make it a reality. Together, we can build a justice system that is truly for the people, by the people. This endeavor will also require financial investments consistent with the needs. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for this wonderful conference as we seek to accelerate this journey of enhancing AJS within the tradition and logic of social transformation through access to justice, of expanding organic, people-centered approaches to access to justice, and celebrate our Chief Justice for pioneering this role in this area. Thank you very much, and God bless you.
Thank you very much, Chair, for those remarks on the National Legal Aid Service Board. How many have heard of the board? Wengi, lakini sio wengi sana. Aya. Now, it is my pleasure to invite Senior Counsel, one of the country's leading advocates, and Chair of the Kenya Legal and Network Issues Board, Senior Counsel 𝑷𝒆𝒐𝒑𝒍𝒆. If you thought that lawyers only wear Italian suits, you are about to be proven wrong. But knowing where he comes from, this attire is more expensive than an Italian suit.
Thank you. Your Ladyship, Chief Justice Martha Koome, And although I'm going to adopt the protocol, I must mention Honorable Dr. Smokin Wanjala and Lady Justice Njoki Dungu, and of course, Honorable Justice Professor Joel Ngugi, distinguished guests, members of the judiciary, delegates, practitioners, guests, ladies and gentlemen, hamujambo. This week, as we reflect on the milestones achieved in implementing the alternative justice systems, AJS, celebrating their impact on our communities, and sharing the best practice, I want to express my heartfelt appreciation to all the practitioners and pioneers of the alternative justice narrative in Kenya. The theme of this year's conference, namely accelerating people-centered justice in Kenya, engaging, expanding, and retooling alternative justice, resonates deeply with KELIN's mission, which is to promote and protect health-related human rights for all. KELIN stands for Kenya Ethical and Legal Issues Network, an organization founded in 1992 under the auspices of UNDP and UNESCO, but eventually taken over by various other donors in the late 1990s. It was born out of the need to address the ethical and legal issues that arose due to the pandemic, the AIDS pandemic, that we know was in our country from 1984. So that was the original, but we have expanded our mandate. That is Kenya Ethical and Ethical Issues Network. One of the first consumers, of course, have been disadvantaged widows, of those we are widowed by HIV and AIDS. So that is the background of our network. We have since expanded to address wider issues relating to land and health. So social transformation through access to justice offers a unique opportunity for societies to engage with AJS and devise community-based solutions to justice issues. This must be done with a commitment to moral rectitude, grounded in fairness, equity, rationality, ethics, the rule of law, religious doctrines, and human rights. At KELIN, we recognize that different societies have unique justice needs, cultures, and traditions. Some progressive and protective of human rights, others regrettably harmful due to the persistence of patriarchy. Since the promulgation of the 2010 Constitution, KELIN has been expanding AJS through our cultural structural project. This project enhances the capacity of AJS practitioners who are well versed in their community's culture and traditions, promoting people-centered justice through right-based approaches. Working innovatively with these practitioners, KELIN has facilitated the resolution of 1,064 cases involving poor women, widows who are living with HIV, youth, and the elderly, helping them reclaim their rights and dignity. These efforts are documented in our compendium of cases, with editions published in 2017 and 2022 available on KELIN website. We also retool AJS through multi stakeholder partnerships, offering training and hosting knowledge-sharing sessions with both governmental and non-governmental actors. This advances a culture of justice that ensures fair outcomes and animates AJS practices. Our research and surveys, such as studies on the impact of dowry among the Luo culture, and the global social norms on women's land and property rights, contribute to policy making and advocacy, promoting equal opportunities and a society where everyone can live free from fear and want. As Kelin walks the paths of reclaiming lives and rebuilding rights, we remain steadfast in our commitment to promoting people-centered justice by engaging, expanding, and retooling AJS for the well-being of Kenyans and beyond. We look forward to connecting with some more partners and continuing these invaluable partnerships. I also invite you to visit the Kelin booth to learn more about our work and explore our products. Erokamano, Kongoi, thank you very much. Oh, sorry. Sorry, I am not being guilty of theft in any way. Thank you.
Let's give a round of applause to Senior Counsel 𝑑𝒆𝒐𝒑𝒍𝒆, doing excellent and novel work. Thank you very much, Counsel. Now, I want to introduce a special person, special in the sense that where he comes from rarely makes appearances in forums like this. Our next speaker is a banker. When was the last time you saw a banker in an AJS meeting? And our next speaker, I have a friend who works with you, your chief economist tells me you are an extraordinary banker who is an engineer and who went to MIT. By the way, when the Vice Chancellor talked about Yale, I saw Ivy League fellows here twitching. Joel said, why not Harvard, where he went? Our next speaker said, why not MIT, where he went? Justice Wanjala said, why not Columbia, where he went? And Professor Celestine Nyamu as well also said, why not Harvard, where she went? So you need to upgrade so that next time the Kabarak students excel in those universities. But anyway, so our next speaker is an engineer by training and a banker. And as I said, I've gotten to know about him and his humanity from one of his colleagues who happens to be a friend of mine. So when I saw him in the program, I said, this proves the point that John Gashora, the chair of Kenya Bankers Association, has a humanity beyond pursuing profits. Let's put our hands together for Mr. John Gashora, who is also the group managing director of NCBA Bank. Welcome, engineer, banker. Go for it.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for that wonderful introduction. Allow me to recognize, even as I adopt the protocols, Honorable Justice Martha Koome, Chief Justice, President of Supreme Court of Kenya. Let me also appreciate Your Excellencies, the Governor of Mandera and the Deputy Governor of Nakuru, the Honorable Judges of Supreme Court, Dr. Smoking Wanjala, and my friend, Deputy Justice Joaquin Ndungu, and of course, my schoolmate, the Honorable Justice Professor Joel Ngugi, who invited me to today's occasion. Honorable Justice Martha Koome, let me report to you that this morning before you arrived, all your judges were on stage dancing. And I hope everybody wasn't thinking what I was thinking, that how can we take them seriously after this? But indeed, it's an honor to address you today and as we convene to discuss and implement transformative strategies under the theme Accelerating People-Centered Justice in Kenya, Engaging, Expanding, and Retooling Alternative Justice Systems. This initiative is a testament to our collective commitment to ensuring justice is accessible, efficient, and tailored to the needs of our people. Traditional judicial systems, while indispensable, often face challenges such as case backlogs, which has been mentioned, and I need to find out that Swahili word that was mentioned earlier, high costs, and procedural complexities that has become true, unfortunately, of our court system that can hinder swift justice. This is where alternative justice systems come into play. By offering mediation, arbitration, and other community-based conflict resolution mechanisms, AJS can significantly alleviate the burden on our courts and provide more culturally relevant and accessible avenues for justice. People-centered justice systems, of course, are not new in Kenya, and I suppose that's why Justice Gogi decided that we should dress in our traditional dress to remind us that in our own tradition, this has been true. But even more recently, I reflected a bit on a story I heard from my brother. Now, my brother was a chief, recently retired. And when he talked to me about his work, he told me most of it involved dispute resolution, disputes ranging from succession, marital disputes, border disputes, and other non-family issues. And the decisions the chief and his group would make went way beyond resolution. He told me a story recently of a case that he had to deal with. A mother and her daughter conspired to hide a pregnancy from the husband and from the church. Something unfortunate that does happen even today. When the mother found out the daughter was pregnant, she took her to her auntie's house, which was quite far from where they lived. And she stayed there until she gave birth to a bouncing baby boy. And once the boy was born, the mother again took the boy to a children's home in the Muru. And she wrote an affidavit claiming that this child, this boy, was hers, and indeed that she was a poor mother who could not afford to raise this child. And besides that, that she had lost her husband, who was purportedly the father, due to alcohol abuse. And she did her affidavit. And she went further to say that, given her circumstances, she was willing to give up the child for adoption. A year went by. At the end of 1 year, a couple showed up and showed interest in adopting this child. But they asked that they must get a birth certificate. So the mother was called and asked to get a birth certificate for this child. And of course, where do most rural people run to when they ask for a birth certificate? The first place to go is the chief. So she went to the chief in the Muru and said, I need to get a birth certificate. After a bit of interrogation, the chief found out that this mother came from my area. And so he called my brother, who was a chief, said, we need help. There's a mother here who needs a birth certificate, and says it's a child who has been in a children's home. And when my brother found out who this was, it's somebody he knew very well. Not only did he know her very well, but he knew of her husband, who happened to have been a professional from the area, and not only a professional, he was a church elder, and had never touched alcohol in his life. When he talked to the lady said, please, my husband has no idea that I've written this affidavit, does not even know about this child. So my brother got together with the other chief, called the children's home, talked to them and the mother. The mother confessed, of course, what she had done. And it became a matter of my brother and the other chief convincing the children's home please to keep this child. And more importantly, they decided never to let the husband know, because they knew that if the husband knew, the home was finished. And in so doing, they chose to save a home. So I reflected on this. And perhaps it's not the decision, and please let's not question the decision, we may, but it was the fact that part of the decision was to keep this secret. We didn't have court reporters writing this story anywhere. It was decided and settled. And the child was indeed adopted. That's a good story, then to the story. Was adopted to a very good home. But they chose to keep this secret. And so, alternative dispute resolution, the benefits are not just about the time. It's also about other things that are culturally relevant, like secrecy, to keep homes together. So AJS has many advantages for businesses that value confidentiality and privacy. It keeps issues, as I said, out of the prying eyes of co-reporters and public disclosure requirements. And AJS is not just a Kenyan problem. As you all know, American elections are around the corner. And two old men are competing to lead the richest nation on earth. Like that laughter, because someone actually told me the other day that if there's anything the American elections are teaching us, is that that old adage, that old is wise, is highly exaggerated. Anyway, back to AJS. As we know, one of the candidates is about, his career is about to end, isn't it? It could end due to a court case. I think we're all waiting to see what happens. But as I was thinking about it, I couldn't help but wonder if perhaps, given the story I just told about the chief, if he had used alternative justice system, if perhaps would his career been saved? If none of us knew the going-ons behind the scenes, and he had a result. But on the other hand, it's perhaps nature's way of reminding us that anyone can save the world, because as many have said, who could have ever imagined that an adored film star might indeed save America? So it was probably important to have it disclosed. Anyway, just the musings of a banker. So back to AJS. I recognize that for common law country like ours, AJS may deny the judicial system access to important case laws. But that's a small price to pay for justice to be served. At Kenya Bankers Association, we have witnessed firsthand the pivotal role that a robust justice system plays in fostering economic stability and societal well-being. A people-centered approach to justice not only upholds the rule of law, but also ensures that every citizen, regardless of their socio-economic status, can access fair and timely resolutions to their disputes. With that said, I am pleased that banks, our customers, partners, and the wider Kenyan public continue to embrace alternative dispute resolution methods. The impact and progressive success of this is demonstrated by the over 400 bank cases that have been fully settled through mediation, with a value of over 7 billion shillings being released to the economy. The average time taken to settle the cases, so far 54 days, underscoring the significance of alternative justice systems in offering banks and their customers a faster, more cost-effective, and mutually beneficial alternatives to traditional courtroom litigation. And nobody needs to lose a pound of flesh. I like to encourage our customers to really consider using mediation and other non-court alternatives to resolving disputes. As I always remind our customers, unfortunately, courts have the standing power to continue with the court case for years and years to come. Unfortunately, customers don't have the time or the money to do so, and so we encourage them to use alternative dispute resolution. The theme of today's event, engaging, expanding, and retooling alternative justice systems, highlights three critical areas of focus. One, engaging stakeholders. Effective implementation of AJS requires the active participation of all stakeholders, including government, including the executive arm of government, judiciary, legal practitioners, community leaders, and the public. Collaborative efforts will ensure that the systems we put in place are indeed inclusive and reflective of the needs and values of our society. Number two, expanding reach. To truly accelerate people-centered justice, AJS must be accessible to all, especially in rural and underserved communities. This involves not only increasing the number of AJS centers, but also enhancing public awareness and education about these alternative mechanisms. To this end, we should seriously consider the role the chief plays in dispute resolution and how we can bring them on board as trusted local practitioners. Retooling systems, on the third one, continuous improvement and innovation are essential for the success of AJS. And this includes training mediators and arbitrators, integrating technology to streamline processes, and adopting best practices from successful models worldwide. By retooling our systems, we can ensure that they remain effective and responsive to the evolving needs of our society. In closing, I'd like to reiterate the importance of our collective efforts in advancing a people-centered justice system. The success of alternative justice systems in Kenya hinges on our ability to work together, embrace change, and remain committed to the principles of fairness, accessibility, and inclusivity. Thank you for your dedication and partnership to this vital endeavor. Thank you, Chief Justice, for your sponsorship of this important journey. Thank you. Good morning.
Let's appreciate Mr. Gashora for those remarks. We really appreciate when you see the chair of all bankers being interested in AJS. There's value in this thing, isn't it? Yeah, kuna kakitu hapa. Yeah, let's just take it seriously. Now, as I invite our next speaker, Justice Ngugi, I'm told that John Gashora was your prefect at Alliance Dome 15B. And he played a very leading role in keeping you away from the girls. Both from across and beyond, particularly beyond. Justice Joel Ngugi, Chair of the National Steering Committee of AJS and Judge of Appeal. Let's put our hands together for the judge, for the work that he has done, and for the work that he'll continue doing. Judge.
Honorable Chief Justice, Your Excellency Governor of Mandera, Your Excellency Deputy Governor of Nakuru, Your Lordship Deputy Chief Justice of Uganda, and allow me to adopt all the protocols that were observed. Good morning. Chief Justice, nilikuwa hapa jana na nikazungumza Kiswahili sanifu, lakini inaonekana Kiswahili changu kilifanya watu wengine kama Duncan wapate wivu. Kwa hivyo sasa leo, ili kupunguza wivu, unajua saa zingine unapunguza wivu kidogo, nikaamua niongee Kiingereza. Kwa hivyo leo niko mrengo wa Kiingereza kidogo, lakini wakati unapofaa nitazungumza Kiswahili. This is the third National AJS Conference. It is also the biggest yet. We have about 600 delegates in this room. In fact, someone mentioned this has to be the biggest conference the Judiciary of Kenya has ever held. So we are very proud of that. So that's great. What is even better is that the delegates here represent each of the 47 counties in Kenya. Each. This is important because the message of AJS is one of building a national movement based on transformative justice and access to justice. Ujumbe wetu mkubwa kama nilivyosema jana ni kwamba tuna wananchi kutoka kaunti zote 47 hapa leo. Na hiyo ni muhimu sana. Kwa sababu mtakumbuka jana tulivyosema nia yetu ni kuendeleza hili vuguvugu la haki. Vuguvugu la AJS. Leo nilitaka kusema our special guests, our very special guests are from perhaps the farthest, people who've traveled the farthest to come to Nakuru, our very special guests from Mandera County. Na ningependa tu wasimame ili tuwapigie makofi kwa msima. Tuna kama 30 hivi. Tunawaenzi wenzetu kutoka Mandera. Thank you so much, Your Excellency, for facilitating that. So today I want to announce that the AJS has finally grown to become a movement, a social justice movement. Like all social justice movements, we must be intentional in our movement building. The ultimate aim, in keeping with the ultimate goal of people-centered justice systems, is to get social transformation. Social transformation undergirded by and underwritten by justice. It is a radically salubrious ideal of social transformation, an overthrowing of the hitherto attempts at social transformation underwritten by law and order. The former attempts were undertaken by the state and targeted at the citizens as subjects of the state. This one is undertaken by the citizens and the state constructively, collaboratively together. The former attempts fetishized formal law and legal technicalities as the holy grail to access to justice. This new social movement sees formal state-provided law as but one of the pathways to justice. That is why this AJS movement is committed to multiple or plural justice systems. Now, if that sounds familiar, it is because you have read it in the judiciary's blueprint, social transformation through access to justice. Now, a very important aside here, because it came up yesterday. It is not a product of cognitive confusion, limited imagination, or deficiency in radical thought. I hope Professor Ban is paying attention. It is not a product of cognitive confusion, limited imagination, or deficiency in radical thought that we settled on the word alternative justice systems as its name. It is true that it is in the AJS system that most cases are heard and resolved. Ni ukweli, kesi nyingi zaidi hapa nchini zinatatuliwa kwa kupitia AJS. Hata si kuamuliwa, zinatatuliwa kwa kutumia AJS. It is true that most Kenyans, if asked, would prefer AJS as their #1 port of call for their justice needs. Ni ukweli. Wakenya wengi walipoulizwa na Professor Jill Gai alituambia jana walipofanya hata survey yao, Justice Needs Survey, walipofanya survey yao 2017, Wakenya wengi wangependelea kesi zao zitatuliwe kwa njia hii, kwa mfumo huu mbadala. It is also true that the original signification of AJS as alternative was decidedly pejorative, a little disguised attempt at otherization. Ni ukweli. Mara nyingi watu walipoita, sana sana wakati wa ukoloni, walipoita alternative, walipoita njia mbadala, walikuwa na nia ya kudhalalisha ama ya kudharau njia hizi mbadala. But I want to say, the new AJS in its name is neither a signifier of its hierarchical place in the Justice Olympics, nor its taxonomical categorization of its place in teleological evolution. Jua jana niliongea Kiswahili watu wakafikiri sijui Kizungu. Indeed, ladies and gentlemen, the correct comprehension of AJS categorically rejects both a hierarchical vision of justice systems as well as a teleological vision of human history. A hierarchical vision of justice systems places the state-backed courts at the top and evaluates all the other justice systems in terms of their ability to mimic the state-backed system. Our vision of AJS, born of the Constitution, rejects that vision as invalid. A teleological vision of history views human societies as evolving in a linear fashion from a traditional society to a post-industrial society, with each stage deemed superior to the former. Our vision of AJS rejects this evolutionary teleology. Why then call it alternative if we reject both the hierarchy and if we reject the teleological vision of society? Alternative neither denotes nor connotes an inferior system of justice or the other in the subaltern sense. Alternative in this context is a nod to a constitutional scheme. It is a conscious acknowledgement of the genius of the Kenyan people in how they conceived AJS in the Constitution. Indeed, it is a way of saying that the subaltern can speak. Kenyans constituted themselves as a people and a state in Article 1 of the Constitution. They categorically constitute themselves as sovereign in that article. Then, as sovereign, they delegate to the judiciary all judicial authority. By so doing, Kenyans have established the judiciary as the default forum for dispute resolution. They have done that unmistakably and knowingly. And there is a reason for it. Kenyans come back to Article 159 of the Constitution, and they give the judiciary the conditions upon which it must exercise its delegated authority. In other words, Kenyans are reserving certain judicial powers to themselves. One of the conditions Kenyans give the judiciary is that it must promote AJS. So, Kenyans are telling the judiciary that while it is the default forum under Article 1 of the Constitution, it must promote AJS under Article 159 of the Constitution. Differently put, the judiciary is a default forum for dispute resolution, while AJS is the alternative forum. It is alternative only in the sense of being not the default forum. Just like I think there are about 4 billion other men in the world other than me. That is, the fact that there are 4 billion other men, they are only other because they are not me, it doesn't make them any less important or inferior. Yet they remain other in my household because I'm the default man in that house. Nafikiri tumeelewana. It doesn't make all the other 4 billion men in the world any less important. But when you come to my house, I'm the default man. At least I hope so. What Kenyans have designed in the Constitution is the judiciary as a default mechanism for dispute resolution, and AJS as the other systems not in any way inferior or less important. What Kenyans have designed in the Constitution is an orbit theory. The judiciary as a default forum not only provides the only compulsory forum we all must submit to if required, but it has also given to the judiciary the important role of radiating rays of light and salubriousness to the other systems orbiting in the universe of justice, that is, the AJS systems. Now, this understanding of our constitutional design of justice systems is what explains our task as one of building an ecosystem of groups and systems of justice that are strong and healthy. Groups and systems of justice that are here for the long haul and are bonded by constitutional values. If we are to succeed in this mission of building AJS as a social justice movement, there are a number of fundamental things we must do. And please bear with me, I just have 6 short ones I want to share with you today. First of all, we must define ourselves. And I think we've been fairly successful in doing this. Who are we? We are justice norm entrepreneurs, agents of justice. And I think speeches by the Chief Justice have made this very clear. We are all agents of justice. We are justice solutionaries. That's a new word we must invent if it does not exist in English. So our word for yesterday was libikizo, meaning backlog. Our word for today is justice solutionaries. We are justice solutionaries. We, as agents of justice, have to innovate ways of solving the justice issues that are in our own communities. Secondly, what binds us together as a social justice movement? The values that we stand for do. A social justice movement is bound together by fundamental values. The movement must be defined through values. And fortunately for us, these values are defined in our Constitution in Article 10. So our values are already defined. Thirdly, the outer limits of minimum standards, both procedural and substantive, must be accepted and honored by all in the movement. Again, fortunately for us, these are in the Constitution, in the Bill of Rights. What does that mean? That means that the AJS movement embraces human rights. The AJS movement is a human rights-based movement, but it also calls for the decolonization of the human rights movement. But that's a subject for another day. Fourthly, the movement has a commitment to a didactic pedagogy of human rights, which is related to the subject of decolonizing human rights. Fifthly, the other outer limits of the AJS movement is an acute appreciation of the agency theory as both an enabling and restrictive jurisdictional theory of AJS. And this is borne by our Constitution in the constitutional scheme I just explained, by the Bill of Rights, as including Article 44 of the Constitution and Article 159(3) of the Constitution. Sixthly, does it mean then that AJS is antithetical or hostile to courts? Does it? Far from it. Just like it is a fundamental misunderstanding to think that feminists hate men. Do feminists hate men? They don't. So just like it is a fundamental misunderstanding to think that feminists hate men, AJS adherents do not hate courts. Do not hate courts. They do know the fundamental role played by the courts, including the duty to promote AJS. AJS and courts are not in competition or in conflict with each other. It's important to realize that. So, then what is our theory of change? Because the social justice movement must have a theory of change. It's a simple one. It is simply that AJS both maximizes procedural justice as well as transformative justice, which in turn ensures that the justice gap is minimized while the substantive norms applied are in consonance with values of equity and human rights that are uncontroversially treated as just and fair. Differently put, our Constitution, like Sustainable Development Goal number 16, and like the Nobel laureate Amartya Sen before that, explicitly theorizes that maximizing procedural justice, that is access to justice, increases a legal system's capacity to increase distributive justice. Of course, our Constitution takes the extra, perhaps dreaded step of actually spelling out how to increase distributive justice through explicit redistributive rights-based mechanisms. But that is also perhaps a dreaded story for another day. It comes down to this: facilitating AJS as a bespoke, as a tailored method of accessing justice and aggrandizing the agency of justice seekers. A justice seeker who is empowered to voluntarily choose the appropriate forum for her grievance is a justice seeker whose dignity is maximized. She is also a justice seeker whose capability is increased and one who is better able to predictably order her social and economic life, thereby increasing social and economic capital in the society. By repeatedly exercising her agency in resolving her disputes, that justice seeker also thereby becomes an interlocutor in justice conversations in her community, increasing her political education, collectivizing remedies to society-wide justice issues, and generally increasing the welfare of that society through aggregated participatory governance systems born of the justice conversations in that society. That is our theory of change. So, in our committee, we say we aim to change justice conversations in this country. And this conference is a significant step in that direction. So now allow me, therefore, to do something very boring, but something that I have to do as the chair of this committee, which is I really must thank our sponsors who have made this conference possible. And Honorable Chief Justice, I need to do this in front of you because if I don't do, I may not have a conference next year, right? So it's important that I do this because just like it takes a village to raise a child, it takes a village to host a successful AJS conference. So allow me very quickly to thank Kabarak University for hosting us, the European Union. Just hold your applause until the very end because there are very many. We are here for the next 20 minutes. Sorry, no, just 2 minutes. The European Union, through its PLEAD program, the Kenya Judiciary Academy, the UN Food and Agriculture Organization, the UN ODC, IDLO, Nakuru County Government, Isiolo County Government, Trans Nzoia County Government, Mandera County Government, Kajiado County Government, the Nakuru AJS Working Group, the Nakuru Church Leaders Platform, FIDA Kenya, ICJ Kenya, Kenya Legal and Ethical Issues Network, that's KELIN, Pamoja Trusts, Malaika Foundation, Repos International, Egerton University, Natural Justice, National Council for Law Reporting, NLAS, grassroots organizations operating together in sisterhoods, GROOTS Kenya. So maybe I will repeat FIDA Kenya so that you can also say the same. Nakuru AJS Mashinani, my former Dom Prefect John Gashora would be interested in this one. Interest Rates Advisory Center, IRAC. Yes, we have both the bankers and the other side of it. Action Aid, Kenya Land Alliance, Legal Resources Foundation, Diaconia, Uraia Trust, Center for Reproductive Rights, Kituo cha Sheria, Katiba Institute, Kenya Bankers Association, Amani Communities, Uhai Lake Forum, self-sponsored, and then we have a few self-sponsored delegates. We thank you all so much for sponsoring and funding this conference. Sasa tuwapigie makofi. And now that I have mentioned all of you by name, please expect my letter later this year for the funding for next year's conference, which will be bigger than this one. Thank you very much. Asanteni sana.
Let's appreciate Professor Joel Ngugi. Yeah, when he speaks Kiswahili, it's malaria. When he speaks English, it's malaria. So next time you hear Professor Ngugi speaking, just look for your Panadol, because it will be malaria. I know we've been seated for a long time. We need to stretch, isn't it? DJ, let's stretch. Let's stand up so that we can let the blood circulate. DJ, put that music so that the CJ can see what John Gashora was talking about. Justice Ogudi dancing. Yes. I stopped. Tuko sawa? Wazee mpo? Akina mama mpo? Haya. Now, we want to put our hands together for our next speaker, who is a very special guest here. Our next speaker is also the co-host of this Kongomano today. Ladies and gentlemen, we are very lucky to have 3 Supreme Court judges with us today. So if you file even 10 presidential petitions today, you will not get quorum. So that's how important we are, and we are glad that the Supreme Court is here with us. Ladies and gentlemen, let us put our hands together for the Director General of Kenya Judicial Academy and Judge of the Supreme Court of Kenya, Justice Dr. Smokin Wanjala. Welcome, Judge.
The Honorable, the Chief Justice of the Republic of Kenya and the President of the Supreme Court of Kenya, protocols adopted. That tells you, apart from being a judge of the Supreme Court, I'm also a very good student. Chief Justice, mimi sikuwa hapa jana. Na ningekuwa hapa jana, hata mimi ningezungumza au kutoa hotuba yangu kwa lugha ya Kiswahili. Na Jaji Ngugi hangenitisha wala singekuwa na wivu wowote, kwa sababu kwa ukumbi huu wa watu mashuhuri, Kiswahili ndio lugha ya baba na mama. I was just trying to. But Chief Justice, you know, when I was invited by the steering committee, I looked at the program, and like those who have spoken before me, I also had prepared a speech. Unfortunately, Chief Justice, whoever conspired to place me in a position where I would be invited after a number of luminaries had spoken, I think was constructively sabotaging my agenda. Because I've looked at paragraph 1 of my speech, paragraph 2, paragraph 3, and they are consumed, the content thereof is already consumed by those who spoke earlier. In fact, not all. The Vice Chancellor consumed his bit, the rest did. I looked at paragraph 4, paragraph 5, and they have also been consumed by Professor Ngugi, by Senior Counsel 𝑷𝒆𝒐𝒑𝒍𝒆, and now I stand the danger of either repeating what they have said or even distorting the content that they have delivered to us. And being Smokin Wanjala, I refuse to go that way. So I'll only confine myself, Chief Justice, to what the Kenya Judiciary Academy has been doing to engage, to expand, and retool alternative justice systems. Judge Ngugi did not tell you that it is the Academy that hosts the Secretariat of the Steering Committee of the AJS. Isn't that an important contribution? And we've been told that we have a default center and the other center, the judiciary being the default center when it comes to the rendition of justice to the Kenyan people, So how has the Kenya Judiciary Academy provided sustenance to that default center? Let me tell you one thing. The greatest danger to the alternative justice movement in this country can be the Kenyan judiciary. It can be the magistrates and the judges who sit daily to dispense justice, because they can simply decide that they don't recognize what the hell alternative justice systems are all about. Sindio? And you know, for a long time, judges even resisted training, because according to them, in those days, they said to be a judge is to know it all. And for years, notwithstanding the efforts of those who attempted, they just say there's nothing to train us in, because we are learned, we know the law. Na wakakata na ikaenda hivyo. They can also do that, so as to make sure that that does not happen. The Chief Justice and the steering committee, ably led by Professor Ngugi, decided that, in fact, rather than being a partner in terms of default and the other, it would be the judiciary that would give birth and sustain the alternative justice system. And so the Academy was given a duty to make sure that the alternative justice system is ingested by our magistrates, judges, and judicial staff. What have we done? We have, together with the steering committee, managed to train all magistrates in Kenya, all, excepting those who just came on board recently, in the workings, meaning the theory, the workings, and sustainability of the alternative justice system. We also have managed to train all judges of the High Court, judges of the Employment and Labor Relations Court, judges of the Environment and Land Court, in the workings of the alternative justice system. Au hamwezi piga makofi hapo? Isitoshe, mpangilio huo we have also extended it to all the judges, except those who are just coming on board, of the Court of Appeal, in the manner and workings of the alternative justice system. Again, makofi. And believe you me, we have also managed to train all the judges of the Supreme Court of Kenya in the workings of the alternative justice system. So as I stand here today, the judiciary poses no danger. In fact, the greatest champions now of the AJS within the context of this theme is the judiciary, the Kenyan judiciary. That is what the Kenya Judiciary Academy's contribution has been, will be, and shall continue to be in this movement. Thank you very much.
Let's appreciate Justice Smokin Wanjala some more for the great work that the Academy is doing with respect to AJS. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to invite Her Excellency Ms. Harriet Geiger, the European Union to Kenya, and permanent representative to UNEP and UN Habitat. Let's give her a round of applause as she approaches the podium. This has been one of our biggest supporters in this process. Ambassador.
Your Ladyship, Honorable Chief Justice Martha Koome, you look beautiful today. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. All protocols observed. Traditional or customary law, the alternative justice system, is founded and shaped over centuries and generations by the communities. The communities they have been serving in accessible, affordable, and physically close justice for millions here in Kenya, but across Africa and indeed across the globe. So we should not make the mistake of taking this as something inferior to anything else, because it has served, and it has served well for justice in communities over a very long time. Here in Kenya, the European Union is a close partner to the country, its government, and a very strong supporter to the people-centered justice approach that Kenya is pursuing through the social transformation through access to justice agenda, spearheaded by our Chief Justice Martha Koome. The European Union has supported Kenya's discussion on alternative justice system for years because we know of the power AGS has had, not only in Africa, but also in Europe. So through our EU's justice sector reform program called PLEAD, to which UNODC is providing technical expertise, but also through our funding directly to Kenyan civil society, which works directly with people who are in contact and conflict with the law, we have been supporting alternative justice, and strongly. The PLEAD program has worked with all justice institutions across the spectrum, and we strengthened key policy and coordination mechanisms. And last year, we expanded our activities from 12 to 19 counties across Kenya. I know you're at 47, and hopefully we can go to all the counties. But I'm very happy that all 47 counties are represented here today, because what previous speakers said is very true. It needs to be a transformative national social movement. So I think many of you have invested time and effort in making this getting traction across all counties. And this is indeed what is needed. A large number of Kenyans choose alternative justice mechanisms to solve their disputes because alternative systems are more accessible, quicker, more flexible, and of course, they're much cheaper, and there's no backlog that we have with the formal courts. So, despite a lot of progress made in respect for fundamental human rights, still nowadays many Kenyans still do not feel that justice delivered to them is fair and in line with the constitutional promises. This is particularly true for the poor, the vulnerable, children, girls, and women that have faced violence and abuse. People-centered justice needs, therefore, to be accelerated to deliver equal access to all. Honorable Chief Justice social transformation through access to justice blueprint is very instrumental in this because it proposes the multiple avenues to enable people to pursue justice in respect of their dignity. And I agree with the previous speakers that there's no hierarchy between the judiciary and AGS. AGS and the courts are complementary. But AGS also needs to be properly recognized. Properly recognized. It has its role, and a very useful one. Looking beyond Kenya's borders, in Malawi, for example, the use of community volunteers has been proven to be very effective in undertaking alternative dispute resolution, diverting minor cases and reducing numbers of people in pre-trial detention significantly. Community volunteers, particularly women, were trained as mediators on gender and human rights and have successfully applied their knowledge. For AGS, I think here in Kenya and elsewhere, we need to pay attention to the basic values of compassion and protection for decision-making, which are inherent in the traditional systems. We have to ensure that autonomous AGS structures do not disadvantage or discriminate women, persons living with disabilities, marginalized groups, children and youth in their decision-making processes. This is why the European Union and many other donors also continue to support human rights defenders and legal aid clinics hosted by academic institutions to promote human rights-based approaches to dispute resolution. The role of civil society actors is fundamentally important in this discussion. I'm therefore very pleased that the European Union can support the development of a demo prudence digest, which will document best practice decisions and ideas from non-state-based justice systems here in Kenya through our PLEAD program. In concluding, you may have noticed that today we celebrate World Environment Day. So land disputes are exacerbated by climate change and environmental degradation, and they are therefore much on the rise. And I think that AGS can be a very effective tool in dispute resolution in this area. So concluding, I just wanted to say that AGS is needed to close the justice gap that many Kenyans are still experiencing here, and in ensuring equal access to justice for all Kenyans. Asanteni sana.
Let's appreciate the ambassador. I want to recognize the presence of Governor Isaac Ruto, who is also Commissioner of the Judicial Service Commission. For those of you who are from the Rift Valley, you know about Governor and gumboots. Conversation for another day. We are almost coming to the end, ladies and gentlemen, and I would like to invite the Deputy Governor of Nakuru, Honorable David Cross, to come and make a few remarks. Honorable Chief Justice, the Deputy Governor was with us here today, and as the Deputy Governor is coming, looks like Nakuru is a very good path to greatness in the judiciary. Justice Njoki Ndung'u was a prosecutor here for those who don't know. Chief Justice was a presiding judge here. Justice Sichale was a judge of appeal here. Then she got elevated to the Judicial Service Commission. Justice Ongudi, are you listening to me? Welcome, Deputy Governor.
Honorable Chief Justice Martha Koome, our neighbor Deputy Chief Justice from Uganda, Your Excellency Governor, who is present with us today, and allow me to say all protocols observed. Good morning. Good morning once more. Now today, I'm not going to talk much because I'm going to read our Excellency's speech. First, receive greetings from our Governor, Her Excellency Susan Kihiga, who was supposed to be here today, but asked me to come because she's not around, to bring you greetings and best wishes to all of you. Now, again, I want to encourage my brother, Professor Joel Ngugi, that don't be discouraged. Yesterday, I became your student. As you were speaking, I was listening very keenly. You will mark and give me some award. HIS ndio tipa ya limbikizo mahakamani. I think you will give me an award. Thank you so much. So let me read Her Excellency's speech. Ladies and gentlemen, I take this earliest opportunity to compliment the Chief Justice, Lady Justice Martha Koome, Hon Justice Professor Joel Ngugi, and indeed the Judiciary for setting aside time to tour Nakuru County. The launch of the first autonomous alternative justice system center in Africa yesterday is a remarkable achievement. This initiative, led by the Interfaith Christian Forum in Nakuru, in partnership with the county government of Nakuru, marks a significant step towards resolving numerous cases and easing the burden on the courts. We are even more humbled that the Judiciary decided to locate this important facility here in Nakuru, knowing very well that you are the custodian of justice in the Republic of Kenya. We indeed appreciate that as an arm of the government, the Judiciary takes cognizance of the need to foster collaboration and partnership with the stakeholders in the administration of justice and recognizes county governments as a key stakeholder in the administration of justice. The Judiciary, therefore, engages stakeholders in areas of mutual interest in the administration of justice. Indeed, the county government is ready to partner and work with the Judiciary for the timely and just delivery of justice in Nakuru. The establishment of this pioneering center, the first of its kind in the region, is a groundbreaking innovation that will serve the local communities and all Kenyans, reflecting the success of the social transformation through access to justice blueprint. Recognizing the importance of the mediation and reconciliation processes within alternative justice mechanisms is key to resolving disputes collaboratively and nurturing long-term relationships. The HIS Center's role in promoting a just social order, emphasizing reconciliation and fostering peaceful coexistence is crucial in empowering individuals to reach their full potential. Ladies and gentlemen, this innovative center sets a standard for best practices and simplifies the multiple avenues to access justice. The collaboration between the judiciary stakeholders in justice administration and the county governments underscores the commitment to ensuring timely and fair justice delivery in Nakuru. Nakuru County's active engagement in alternative dispute resolution methods demonstrates a dedication to efficient and cost-effective conflict resolution, aligning with the principles outlined in Article 159 of the Constitution. Nakuru County recognizes the delegation of sovereign power to state organs like the judiciary and independent tribunals under the Constitution. The county embraces the encouragement of alternative dispute resolution methods outlined in Articles 159, such as reconciliation, mediation, and arbitration, as they are cost-effective and efficient in resolving disputes. Active involvement in the alternative justice system, particularly in land ownership cases, demonstrates Nakuru County's commitment. We have been engaged in the working committee and provided interns to support the AJS. Currently, we are exploring ways to involve law graduates in the program and actively participate in the court users committee through the county attorney's office. The efforts to strengthen the alternative justice system in Nakuru are encouraging, especially in addressing the lengthy resolution processes for land and family disputes. It's crucial to enhance these systems to provide effective and efficient dispute resolution mechanisms for our community. Your leadership, apart from the land that the County of Nakuru is offering to the judiciary to construct court stations, the county currently houses court number 5 within the county headquarters. We intend to provide space at our ultra-modern treasury building once complete for the alternative dispute resolution. With the signing of the Memorandum of Collaboration between the Kenya Law Forums CV and the County Government of Nakuru on the 9th May 2024, the County Government of Nakuru stands to gain from the establishment of a legal resource center and bill tracker for the executive, the first of its kind in the Republic of Kenya. Ladies and gentlemen, may I wish you a happy stay here in Nakuru, and may God bless you all. Her Excellency, Honorable Susan Kihiga EGH, Governor of Nakuru County. Thank you so much.
Let's appreciate the Governor, our host Governor. Thank you very much. Now it is my pleasure to invite the Governor of Mandera County, His Excellency Honorable Mohammed Adan Khalif, to come and give his remarks. Welcome, Governor. Let's appreciate him as he comes. Thank you, thank you.
Thank you very much, MC. The Honorable Chief Justice and the President of the Supreme Court of Kenya, I would also like to adapt or to observe the protocol as adopted in the morning. Assalamu alaikum and good morning. It is with great pleasure and honor that I stand before you today at this third AGS conference hosted here at Kabarak University in Nakuru County. This gathering serves as a beacon of hope and progress as we collectively strive towards accelerating people-centered justice in Kenya, that is engaging, expanding, and retooling AGS. The theme of this year's conference highlights the importance of inclusivity and innovation in the field of alternative justice systems. Through interactive workshops, engaging panel discussions, and insightful keynote speeches, we aim to foster a collaborative environment for sharing best practices and addressing challenges. By embracing new technologies, enhancing community participation, and promoting transparency, we can truly transform the way justice is delivered in our society. Let us seize this opportunity to strengthen our commitment to upholding the principles of fairness, equality, and access to justice for all. In reflecting on the theme, or our theme of today, I am reminded of the profound words of the Holy Quran, which speaks to this important justice and equity in society. In the Holy Quran, chapter 4, verses 135, God commands